Good morning, true crime friends. Today is day 2 of the Wisconsin versus Kevin Lychwick. Oh boy, it's a wild one today in the courtroom. Good thing we started late because they certainly off the chains today. Apparently he was drugged from his room. He was taken by his own free will. He just is not having a good day today. I think the judge is going to proceed on with the trial, even if he's not okay. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're in the replay, please don't forget to hit the like button. Let's get this trial out there for people to watch. All right, here we go.
Down. Okay. I protest these proceedings. I'm being railroaded. I am not prepared to defend myself in this matter.
Mr. Lychwick, we'll get to that in just one moment.
You hamstringed me every attempt I've made to defend myself. You've denied me my rights of the disposal of tampered evidence and the dismissal of this case. It should never have come this far. I am not feeling well today. You have dragged me here and brutalized me. Look at this. Look what they did to me. Offered no resistance. They dragged me out of my bed. I question your rationality, sir.
Mr. Lychwick, I will let you be heard, but I want to warn you first that if you are speaking out of turn or speaking disruptively or yelling or otherwise causing a disturbance, I may have to remove you from the courtroom. I will let you be heard. I'll let you make a record. Now is not the time to do that, though, okay? Attorney Thompson, is the state in victim rights compliance?
Yes, we are.
All right, we're here for day 2 of the trial. It's now 9:10 a.m. We were scheduled to begin at 8:30 a.m. We got off to a little bit of a late start. Earlier, the court was advised by my deputies that Mr. Lychwick was still remaining in his cell. He was not dressed, and he was refusing to come to court. I had my deputies check with the jail staff to see whether Mr. Lychwick needed more time, whether he was going to voluntarily come up to court, or what the situation was. So we gave Mr. Lychwick about another 35 minutes or so while we explored some other options of how he could be produced for this trial if necessary. So Mr. Lychwick, what would you like to say about your condition today and your ability to proceed to trial?
Well, thank you for letting me finally speak, Your Honor. Again, I reiterate what I first said when I entered here. I am not well today. I need to lay down and rest.
Why is that?
That is the utmost, that is the primary topic right now.
Why do you feel that you need to lay down and rest?
Because I'm sick. For one thing, I have a tear in my belly that needs to be repaired. And I refuse to take responsibility for the delays in the length of these proceedings because I needed medical attention, and you're saying I put it off. I did not. I did not receive the proper consultation. I wasn't even allowed to consult with another doctor before I had the last procedure done that I needed. And I have not received all the surgeries that I need. I again reiterate, I have a tear in my belly. That might be part of the cause. I am exhausted. How would you like to sleep for 18 months, Your Honor, a concrete slab, being starved, tortured with lights on you, 24 hours a day, guards harassing you when you're on the toilet, can't even shower in peace or sleep in peace. I can't take this anymore.
Okay, Mr. Lychwick, you've made your record previously when the court has heard your concerns about your medical condition. We've taken testimony previously from the jail administrator. We've heard evidence from your treating physician. And the court has already made rulings about your condition leading up to the case, the previous delays in the case, and the readiness for trial this week. So that matter has already been settled. What I'm concerned about is your present condition today and why you think you have an inability to continue today, this morning.
You're being harassing, Your Honor. I just told you, you're making me repeat myself. That's harassing. I reiterate, I am exhausted and I am not well and I'm nauseous. I have a rip in my belly. What more do you want me to say, Your Honor?
Okay.
I don't mean to raise my voice. I am exasperated. I feel that I am not speaking to somebody who's rational at this point. I don't think you're hearing what you want to hear. So at this point, you're trying to make a fool out of me on top of it. I refuse to be part of this. You're railroading me, I say again. My constitutional rights and my Eighth Amendment rights, for one, under the Constitution, are being violated. My human rights.
Mr. Lychwick, I'm going to give you a few different, I understand. I'm going to give you a few different options. I'll let you know, though, that every one of those options leads to the same conclusion and endpoint, which is that the trial is going to continue today and will continue this week. So here are the options that I'm going to present to you. Number one, we can give you a little bit more time this morning to compose yourself, to do what you need to do, to get dressed into your suit that you were in yesterday, because I'll make a record that today you are in the jail orange and we produced you in a wheelchair. You've been handcuffed for the safety of everyone because we don't know what condition you're in or what your attitude was going to be. So I can give you more time to compose yourself, to get ready for trial this morning, maybe until about 10 a.m. That's another 45 minutes. You can freshen up. You can get dressed into your street clothes and resume the trial in the chair at counsel table with your legs secured to the floor like you were yesterday. So there's no outward sign that you're in custody. That's option number one. Option number two, if you're not going to refuse, or if you're going to refuse option number one, is we can keep you in the courtroom as you are now. You're going to be obviously in jail orange. You're obviously going to be in a wheelchair, and we can, I'll defer to my deputies, but we can likely make arrangements for just the leg shackle to be used. But then you are going to be viewed as in custody by the jury. We can give them a cautionary instruction to make sure that that's not used against you in any way. But again, as I said yesterday, efforts were undertaken to make sure the jury was aware that you were, or not aware that you were in custody. So that would certainly change today. That's option number two. Option number three is if you are going to be disruptive in court today, I may have you produced in one of the holding cells in the bullpen here. It's a white room. It doesn't have any outward signs, at least while it's displayed on video, that you would be in custody. I would give you the option to be in that room dressed in civilian clothing, or you could appear in your jail orange there. You would have all your materials there. We could still make arrangements for you to have access to standby counsel. If you want standby counsel to consult with you on anything, we could put you in a breakout room over video for that. And then you would participate in this trial by video. So you would be displayed on the video screens. The jury would see you on their screens. We would see and hear you. You could still make objections. You could still interject. You could still cross-examine witnesses, just like you would if you were in the courtroom. That's option number three. Option number four is the most drastic option, really, Mr. Lychwick, and that is that if you refuse to participate and conduct yourself accordingly, I may have to have you removed from the courtroom and just not produced at all for your trial, in which case there is a way that the court could make findings that the trial would have to proceed with you in absentia. The reason why that is a very drastic remedy here and a drastic option, Mr. Lychwick, is because you are representing yourself. You would not have the benefit of an attorney continuing to represent your interests at trial if you are not here in person. You have standby counsel. I likely would not have Attorney Galaviz suddenly become your advocate counsel and advocate for you because you specifically wanted Attorney Galaviz to withdraw. You wanted to represent yourself. I took the colloquy of your waiver. I find that you are still competent to represent yourself. You asked good questions yesterday. You raised objections yesterday. You gave an opening statement. You're clearly qualified and competent to represent yourself. So I would not have Attorney Galaviz step in and represent your interests, which means that there just would be no presence by the defense. I don't want to exercise that option. That would be only in the event that you're unable to comport yourself and abide by my rules and abide by decorum in the court. So those are essentially your four options, Mr. Lychwick. Do you want time today until about 10 o'clock to get into civilian clothes, freshen up, get your materials up here into court, and continue with the trial?
This is not rational. You haven't listened to a word I said, Your Honor. With all due respect to the court and the people of Waukesha County, I am not up to being here today. I need to lay down and rest. I am not well. That's all I can say. I've said it before. I've said it twice since I came in here. I've told your deputies and the jail staff at least 4 times on the way up here, and the fact that they were hurting me. So I'm not being heard. You're refusing to listen to me. What more can I do?
Mr. Lychwick, I'll ask you again. Do you want time this morning to get into civilian clothes, to freshen up, to meaningfully participate in your case this morning in court like you were yesterday? Are you going to answer?
I've tried to answer. You won't listen to me.
Okay. And Mr. Lychwick, well, the trial is going to proceed whether or not you are actively participating or whether you're protesting or refusing to participate. So now the question is, do we have you stay there in your wheelchair, secure, in jail clothes, so that at least you're in the courtroom and can choose to participate when and if you feel like participating? Do you want to remain in the courtroom, or would you rather be in the holding cell by video?
This is not rational. I've answered your question already 3 times. I don't know what else to say. I need to lay down, Your Honor. I need to go back to my cell and lay down. That's all I can tell you. When I feel better, I'll let you know. That's all. That's the final word here. I don't know what else to do.
Well, that's why I'm offering Mr. Lychwick to delay this a little bit more this morning, to give you an opportunity to freshen up, to do what you need to do and get into civilian clothes, and then come back in the courtroom and participate. But we can't put the trial off today just because you don't feel well. I'm willing to give you more time this morning, but it's going to resume this morning, probably about 10 a.m. We'll bring the jury in. They've been waiting patiently for 50 minutes now. I can have them wait a little bit longer. Is that what you want to do, Mr. Lychwick?
I told you I'm not well. I don't think an hour is going to make any difference, Your Honor. With all due respect to your title, I don't know how to answer you anymore.
Okay. Mr. Lychwick, I want to be very clear. This trial is proceeding whether or not you participate. So I'm giving you the option. Either you're going to be here in person, you're going to be in the holding cell, or if you're, right now you're not being disruptive. So I'm not going to force you to go back to your cell and just continue the trial without you here. But if you are just going to sit there, that's fine. The jury is going to understand that you're in jail orange. I'll give them a cautionary instruction that they're not to consider that in any way. If you exhibit disruptive behavior, though, if you yell, raise your voice, speak out of turn, it may become necessary to remove you from the courtroom. Do you understand that, Mr. Lychwick?
I understand perfectly well.
Do you have your trial materials with you right now?
No, because I am not well. I do not have my glasses with me. I am not well. I am not up. I am done answering these questions. This is insane. I have answered your questions. I have been polite and answered your questions, even though I am under extreme duress and in pain and not well and nauseous and tired beyond belief. I don't know what more to tell you. You refuse to listen to me. I hope this is being put on the record.
We're on the record.
Is the stenographer recording all this, Your Honor?
My court reporter is taking down everything that's been said so far. All right, Mr. Lychwick, what I'm going to do is have the jail staff produce your trial materials.
No,
your glasses.
I do not want that taken out of my cell, Your Honor. Please, no. I am not up to looking at it. I am not up. I need to lay down. It's going to get lost and disheveled like yesterday. Your deputies dropped it all over the floor. It took me hours to put it back together again.
Mr. Lychwick, either they gather your materials and bring them up to you, or we're proceeding without your materials in front of you.
I don't want them brought up here. And I'm telling you again, Your Honor, I am not up to being here right now. I need to lay down.
Mr. Lychwick, yesterday I saw you taking a lot of notes during trial. You were taking notes after hearing certain answers. You were taking notes when the court was talking to you and citing some cases. So I know that you've been taking notes during the trial. I want you to have those notes. I want you to have your materials that you prepared.
Your Honor, I won't be able to use them. I don't know what to tell you. I am not well. I don't need that. If you bring them here, they're going to get lost and spilled all over the floor again and manhandled. Just leave them alone, Your Honor. When I feel better, I'm repeating myself again. You're making a fool out of me, Your Honor. I will let you know when I'm feeling well. That's all I can tell you.
Mr. Lychwick, then I am going to bring the jury in and we're going to resume this trial. I'll give you one more opportunity to have about a 45-minute recess, get yourself into street clothes, get your materials, get your glasses, and prepare yourself for trial. Do you want that time, or should we bring the jury in?
I'm telling you, Your Honor, I am not ready. I am not well. I don't know what else to tell you.
All right.
Bring the jury in.
Attorney Thompson, does the state have any position at this point?
No, I think that the options the court laid out are the available options. Mr. Lychwick has not really made a decision. He's non-responsive to the court, so I think we proceed with the trial. The state has witnesses here, and we are prepared to proceed.
Okay, Mr. Lychwick, one more time, I just want to roadmap here where this case could go, depending on your behavior as we go forward. As I said, I'm going to bring the jury in. I will give them a cautionary instruction that they are not to consider your current clothing, your current restraints. On that note, deputies, with courtroom security in mind, can Mr. Lychwick be secured just with the ankle harness?
We could do that. Remove everyone first.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that's an option. All right. So Mr. Lychwick will make sure that your hands are free and that you are secured by the ankle restraint, but you will still be in jail clothes. I'll tell the jury that they are not to consider anything about your appearance today and infer anything from that and not hold that against you. And we'll proceed with the trial. If at any point you want to stop and get your materials, I can allow you to do that, but they'll be brought up to you. We're not going to have you go down to your cell at this point and gather those materials up. They will be brought up for you to assist you in your defense.
Why didn't you judge?
If you become disruptive or interject or talk out of turn or speak loudly or continue to raise objections on things that the court has already ruled on, I may have to remove you from the courtroom and place you in the holding cell there. By that step, you would still be produced by video. You would still have an audio feed. We would still be able to hear you. That would give you an opportunity to still participate, but it would also give me an opportunity to mute your microphone if you are continuing to be disruptive. I would continue to give you warnings about your disruptive conduct, and if the disruptive conduct continued to the point where it was impossible to continue, then I would have to remove you and place you back in your cell. And at that point, the trial would continue with you in absentia. And I would not be appointing an attorney to represent you because you are proceeding pro se and you wanted your last attorney to withdraw. So, Mr. Lychwick, that's the potential outcomes here as we go forward. Otherwise, if at any point you want to get your materials and get into civilian clothes, we can talk about that. Understood?
No, it's not understood, Your Honor. I don't understand a thing you're saying because it doesn't make any sense. I told you what I told you. You refused to listen to me.
All right. In order to change the defendant's restraints, we are going to have to clear the courtroom again. So I'm going to ask all of the public to exit the courtroom so that the deputies can take care of that, and then we will reopen the courtroom and proceed.
Wow. Did he take pointers from Daryl? He must have. He must have got some pointers from Daryl. He must have watched Daryl. Daryl Brooks. Oh, God. That just kills me. That guy. So now what are we doing? Waiting for him to talk? God, we could be here all day.
I'd like to make two records regarding discovery in this case. Going forward, since Mr. Lychwick does not have any of his papers with him, as we introduce paper exhibits or documents, I have asked my paralegal to start printing off paper copies to provide to Mr. Lychwick as we go along. He did have a flash drive given to him yesterday after we broke for the day. It contained all of the state's exhibits up to this point and some that have been marked and just not admitted yet. Exhibits 82 and 83 on that flash drive were photos. I replaced them with different photos, so I will get Mr. Lychwick a copy of those as well. But that way, because he doesn't have anything with him, at least he can follow along with all of the paper discovery in court as the witnesses go up. All of those exhibits and documents have previously been provided to him through Attorney Galavi's via an evidence.com link.
Okay, thank you. And that reminds me, after we concluded yesterday, we had a brief off-the-record discussion about the state preparing hard copies of all the photos that have been admitted so far. It would be the court's intent that the parties talk about whether or not exhibits would be returned to the jury if they request them during deliberations, and the court's preference would be that photos, color photos of all of those exhibits be printed so that they can be more easily accessed.
I just have to stop to say, I think this judge also went over some pointers or talked to the other judge that was on the Daryl Brooks case, because he is being super patient with this man too. I'd have been like, you're done. Get out. Go. Just get out of my courtroom and don't come back. You're guilty. No, I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. But my God. Yes, I'm still super sick. So here we go.
By the jury. I just wanted to make a record of that.
The last thing is, after court yesterday, while Attorney Galaviz was present, the attorneys were still in court, along with Mr. Lychwick. As I was handing him that flash drive, he told me he was still missing the recorded calls. I think one of the last names that he gave was Smithy. That's Smithey, which made me think that he was referencing several recorded phone calls for individuals that officers spoke to in this case. They're not on the state's witness list. I don't intend to call them, but I did, in an effort to make sure that he had what he was asking for, I went back to review the property sheet. There are 3 specific recorded calls, one with Kurt Lychwick, one with Raven Frederick, Fredrick, and Jackie Smithy, Jacki Smithey. I confirmed that all three of those calls are on the evidence.com link that was previously provided to counsel, which Attorney Galaviz advised us he had given the entirety of everything he had received from the district attorney's office to Mr. Lychwick. So just so there's a record made of that, he does have everything, and he has those calls that I believe he was referencing to me yesterday when we broke for the day.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lychwick, anything on those matters?
Yes, the flash drive, Your Honor, that was given to me yesterday kindly by the prosecution was taken away from me by the jail staff. So they've denied me access to it, ultimately. I do not have access to that flash drive.
And Attorney Thompson, everything that was on the flash drive was previously provided to the defense via the evidence.com link?
Yes, with the caveat of, for example, the Exhibit 2, which is the floor diagram of Ms. Rose, Mr. Maldonado, Mr. Lychwick, that was created as a demonstrative. So there are a couple demonstrative exhibits on that flash drive, but otherwise everything else was on evidence.com, yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else before we bring the jury in?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick?
Yes, I just want to go lay down, Your Honor. I'm not well.
All right, I understand. Let's call for the jury then.
All rise, jury.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for the delay in getting going this morning, but we are ready to continue now with the trial. I have one other instruction to give you at this time. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you can see that the defendant is dressed differently today by his choice. You are not to infer anything from that, nor use that in any way against him. All right, we are ready to proceed with the trial. The state may call its next witness.
Yeah, we call Anthony LaFave, please.
Mr. LaFave, come up to the witness stand, please. When you get up here, please remain standing and raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk.
You swear that the testimony
you're about to give in this manner before the court shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. You can have a seat. That black bar with the red dot in front of you is our microphone. Get yourself situated nice and close to that and start by stating your name, spelling both your first and your last name.
Anthony, Anthony, Lefebvre, Lefebvre.
Attorney Tom Husker, you may proceed. Thank you very much, Your Honor. And good morning, Mr. Lefebvre. Can you please tell the jury where you live, sir?
1512 East North Street, apartment 7, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
And how long have you lived in that location, sir?
Since 2013.
Okay. So over 10 years?
Yes.
Okay. And so are you employed?
Yes.
What do you do for a living?
I just work at Walgreens, stock room.
And do you know an individual named Kevin Lychwick, sir?
Yes.
Do you see Mr. Lychwick in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Can you please point him out and identify an article of clothing that he's wearing?
Orange clothing.
And he's the gentleman seated directly to my left, is that right, sir?
Correct.
Yeah, I asked the record reflect identification of the defendant, Kevin Lychwick. The jury can make that determination. You live in the same apartment building as Mr. Lychwick, sir?
Yes.
And which level of the apartment complex do you live on? Do you live on the ground floor or the second floor?
The first floor.
Okay. And does Mr. Lychwick live on the first floor or the
He
second
lives on
floor?
the second floor.
Okay. And did you ever interact with Mr. Lychwick, sir?
Just in passing, doing laundry, coming and going in the garage.
Okay. And based on your interactions with Mr. Lychwick, do you know whether he has a particular first name that he prefers to be called by?
It was everybody in the building usually just referred to him as Conrad.
Okay. And do you know an individual named Carlos Maldonado?
Yes.
And how do you know Carlos, sir?
He also lived in the building on the second floor.
Okay. And so directing your attention to the springtime of 2024, did you install a trail camera at your apartment complex at about that time frame, sir?
Yes.
And why did you install a trail camera?
So my mother could watch our garden. I also have one up by her so I can watch her garden. So.
And so you were building a garden then on the property?
Correct.
And did you talk to the property management staff about you wanting to start that garden on the property?
Yes.
Did they give you permission to start that garden?
Yes.
And did you similarly have a conversation with the property manager about installing the trail camera so you could keep tabs on that garden?
Yes.
And did the property manager give you permission to install that trail camera?
Yes.
Can you just tell the jury a little bit generally about what this trail camera looked like?
It's a white 2x3 3-ish square box. Just stuck it on the tree.
And when you say you stuck it on a tree, can you just give the jury a little bit of a sense? There's a hill and a wooded area to the back of the apartment complex. Is this the area where you put the camera, sir?
Correct.
And did you put one camera or did you put multiple cameras?
I have multiple cameras.
And does this particular trail camera run on what is known as an SD memory card?
Yes.
And an SD memory card, does that capture the footage that your trail camera is recording on a particular date and time?
Correct.
And if a person has a copy of that SD memory card, would they be able to go back in time and review footage from the prior time date?
Yes.
And does the trail camera that you installed, does that work on motion detection?
Yes.
Does it continue to record footage even if it's late at night, say after midnight?
Oh yeah, 24/7.
And was there a point in time, sir, in which a law enforcement official came to you and asked you for the particular footage that was on your trail camera?
Yes.
And let me take a step back and ask you this as well. In terms of the footage on your trail camera, to your knowledge, when you initially installed the camera, did you ever change out the SD memory card?
No.
So the original SD memory card that you installed the camera would have been recording throughout the time of April of 2024?
Absolutely.
It would have also been recording around the same time of May of 2024?
Yep.
And I asked you just a few moments ago about an official from law enforcement asking you for contact you in reference to your trail camera. Was that Detective Ben Stern of the Waukesha Police Department?
Yes.
And he's the gentleman that's seated a couple of seats to my right?
Yes.
And did you cooperatively turn over those two SD cards to him?
Right away.
And did Detective Stern threaten you or coerce you in any manner to hand over those SD cards?
Nope.
You did that voluntarily?
Absolutely.
And you made no modifications or any changes to the SD card until that time that you turned it over to the police department?
Correct.
Was there a point in time, sir, in late November of 2024 when you were contacted by a specialist with the Waukesha Police Department?
Yes.
And this particular individual wanted you to review some particular footage from your trail camera. Is that right?
Yes.
And specifically, this individual wanted to show you some footage and see if you recognized anybody from your trail camera. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you agree to review that footage with that individual?
Yes.
And prior to your testimony in court here today, sir, have you had an opportunity to review some snippets from your trail camera?
Yes.
And if I showed you those particular snippets of footage, would you recognize if they came from your trail camera or not?
Yes.
Then at this point, I would ask that we place on the witness's screen what has been previously marked as State's Exhibit 66. So are you able to see this exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this exhibit, I should say, runs about 8 seconds in length. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And I should ask you, sir, is there a timestamp on these particular clips?
There is.
Okay. And to your knowledge, just give me just a second, sir. Is the timestamp accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so I'm going to play this particular clip from the beginning. I'm going to back it up here, and just let us know after you finish reviewing this clip if you recognize it.
I do.
Okay. This is your trail camera, sir?
Yes.
This is from the trail camera that you installed at the back of the complex?
Yes.
Now I move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to the receipt of the evidence, Mr. Lychwick? I'll take silence as no objection. The evidence will be received.
Thank you. And Your Honor, at this point, I would ask permission to publish to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to publication to the jury?
If I could address the jury for a minute, Your Honor?
You may not. Any objection to Exhibit 66 being used with the
I
jury?
am not well. I told you that already. I am not up to sitting here and participating in these procedures. I am sick, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Lychwick, I've already made a ruling on that. The trial is continuing. Without objection or over the defendant's silence, the court will allow Exhibit 66 to be received into evidence and used with the jury.
Thank you. If we could just have the TVs turned down, please. Anthony, may I call you by your first name?
Yes.
Anthony, just so we're clear, these clips do not have any sound associated with them. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
That's okay. Yeah, if you don't know, you don't know. But let me just play this clip for you, and then I'm going to have a question for you at the conclusion of the clip. Okay. Were you able to review the clip, sir?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a yes?
Yes.
And is there an individual depicted walking on this clip, sir?
Yes,
Do you recognize that individual?
I do.
Who is that individual?
Kevin Lychwick.
Kevin Lychwick, sir?
Lychwick, yes.
The individual you identify?
Kevin Lychwick. Oh, I just corrected. I mispronounced.
The same Kevin Lychwick that you identified earlier in court here today, sir?
Yes.
How do you know that that's Mr. Lychwick, sir?
He kind of has a particular walk, a gait to how he walks.
And in terms of the, I'm trying to move my cursor out of the way here so you can see, but is there a timestamp on this particular video, sir?
Yes.
Okay, and the timestamp is?
Is May 2nd, 2024 at 0:40, hours, 31 seconds.
So this
12.
Hang on. Okay, the question was answered. What's the next question?
Sure. That's 12:31, so that's 12:41 in the morning, sir?
Correct.
Thank you, sir. Okay. If we could just, take the TVs down, please, Madam Clerk. Just one moment, sir. Anthony, I have a few other video clips.
10 Bosco in court, it's Mr. Lefevre.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, okay. Mr. It's Lefebvre, is that right, sir? Okay. Mr. Lefebvre, I have several other clips I'd like to show you as well. If you don't mind, can we just bring those up on your screen as well, sir? And this has been previously marked. Do you see that, Mr. Lefebvre?
I do.
And this has been previously marked as State's Exhibit 67. And do you recognize this clip, sir?
I do.
Wait, is this from your trail camera as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to the receipt of Exhibit 67, Mr. Lychwick? All right, no answer from the defendant. The evidence will be received.
Now turning your attention, Mr. Lefebvre, to State's Exhibit, has been previously marked, I should say, as State's Exhibit 68. Are you able to see this footage, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Is this from your trail camera as well, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, I now move State's Exhibit number 68 into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to Exhibit 68, Mr. Lychwick? Without objection, the exhibit will be received.
Mr. Lefebvre, turning your attention now to what has been previously marked as State's Exhibit 69. Do you see this on your screen as well,
Yes,
sir?
I do.
Okay. Is this from your trail camera as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I now move State's Exhibit 69 into evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 69, Mr. Lychwick? The record will reflect that Mr. Lychwick is sitting still in his chair with his eyes closed and he is non-responsive to the court. The court is speaking in a loud enough voice to wake up anyone who would legitimately be sleeping. The defendant is choosing not to answer the court's inquiries. Exhibit 69 is received into evidence.
Mr. Lefebvre, showing this from marked now as State's Exhibit number 70. Do you recognize this footage as well?
Yes.
Is this from your trail camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, I now move State's Exhibit number 70 into evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 70, Mr. Lychwick? The defendant continues to not answer nor open his eyes. Exhibit 70 is received.
And Mr. Lefebvre, I have two additional clips for you. This has been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 71. Do you recognize this footage as well?
I do.
Is this from your trail camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, I now move State's Exhibit number 71 into evidence and ask that it be received.
Exhibit number 71, Mr. Lychwick, any objection to that? The defendant does not answer. Exhibit 71 will be received into evidence.
And finally, Mr. Lefebvre, I'm showing you what has been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 72. Do you recognize this footage, sir?
I do.
And is this from your trail camera?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I move State's Exhibit number 72 into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to 72, Mr. Lychwick? The defendant does not answer. 72 will be received.
Thank you. Mr. Lefebvre, was there a time when you knew Mr. Lychwick that you took note of any particular change to his hair color?
About a year previous to him being vacated from the building.
Okay. Do you remember about the approximate time frame, like what month you first made reference to this?
No, I don't.
Okay. For a period of time, did Mr. Lychwick have gray hair?
Yes.
And was there a point in time in which you noticed that he no longer had gray hair?
Yes.
What color hair did he have instead of his normal gray hair?
It was just a lighter color. It was no longer silvery gray.
Okay. Was there a point in time in which you noticed he had jet black hair?
That seems like what it was.
Okay. Do you remember when you first noticed that he had jet black hair?
A few months previous to, like, in early 2024.
I see. So I just want to take a step back and clarify one thing. So there were a number of video clips I showed you that have not been published yet. So on those particular video clips, is there an individual depicted walking on them?
Yes.
And is that individual Mr. Lychwick?
Yes.
And once again, you recognize Mr. Lychwick based on his particular manner of walking. Was that your testimony earlier?
Yes.
That's all the questions I have for you. Thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have any cross-examination?
I told you, Your Honor, I'm sick. I'm not well. I shouldn't be here. I need to be laying down.
The court has already ruled on that today. I've ruled on that pre-trial, and the trial will continue. Without any cross-examination, then, Mr. Lefebvre, you are excused. Thank you. The state may call its next witness.
Thank you. The state calls Karen Corcoran. And just go right up behind the court reporter.
And come all the way up to the witness stand. When you get up here, please remain standing and raise your right hand to be sworn in by my clerk.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You may be seated. That black bar with the red dot in front of you is our microphone. Get yourself situated nice and close to that. And when you are ready, start by stating your name, spelling your first and last for the record.
My first name is spelled C-A-R-R-E-N. It's Karen. My middle name is Corcoran, C-O-R-C-O-R-A-N. And my last name is Gummin, G-U-M-M-I-N.
Thank you. Ms. Gummin, how are you presently employed?
I'm retired from City Madison Police Department.
How long were you a law enforcement officer with the City of Madison Police Department?
30 years.
During your 30 years as a law enforcement officer, did you have any kind of specialized training as it related to police canine dogs or working dogs?
I began working a cadaver dog independent of the police department in about 1999, and then proceeded to work cadaver dogs throughout my career. I'm currently on my 5th, and I also was a full-time patrol dog handler for 10 years for the city.
Do you currently own your own business?
Yes, I have a small business I started in 2005 called Canine Search Solutions. It's focused on providing training to law enforcement canine handlers who run tracking dogs. And then separate from that, we do cadaver dog work when we're requested, but it's on a voluntary basis. We don't get paid anything.
As part of your continued work as a trainer and a teacher, do you have a curriculum vitae that you keep up with in order to kind of keep track of everything that you do?
Yes.
And Madam Clerk, if you could please turn on the screen in front of the witness only, please. I'm scrolling down to the bottom of page 1. Do you see an exhibit sticker there, Ms. Gummin?
Yes.
And is that State's Exhibit 75?
Yes.
In scrolling through Exhibit 75, is this an 11-page document that is your CV?
Yes.
And this is something that you personally prepare and keep up with, you said, right?
Yes.
At this time, I move Exhibit 75 into evidence.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to Exhibit 75 being received into evidence?
I told you already 1,000 times, Your Honor, I'm not well today. I don't know what to tell you.
Exhibit 75 will be received.
Ms. Gunman, we talked about how you were a City of Madison police officer for 30 years, and you have been training and handling working dogs for 24 years. Now, you talked about how you have had 5 dogs. Is that correct?
5 human remains detection dogs, yes.
Thank you for correcting me. Now, you yourself, as a handler, how many searches over your career have you participated in, whether it's search and rescue missions, as a cadaver dog handler?
Thanks. For human remains detection dog cases, I'm at 294 cases, and I count a case once. So often we get involved in a missing persons case and we repeatedly go back, but 294 cases.
Now, can you describe for the jury, please, your education starting from when you were a police officer and then kind of going through the dog training as well?
I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison a long time ago. And I got my degree at that time, a Bachelor of Arts in Behavioral Science and Law. And then I started in the Madison Police Department the day after I graduated. I had a minor in criminal justice, which was offered at the university, and a minor in African studies. And I think that's about it.
Okay. And now, is there a section on your CV that specifically focuses on the dog trainings?
Yes.
Okay. And would it be fair to say, and I'm looking at exhibit number 75, you have routinely participated in various trainings involving police canines or human remains canines from 1995 through April of last year?
Yes.
And do you have any continuing education or training that you participate in to make sure that you are kept up to date with any advancements in this area?
For myself?
For yourself, yes.
I do a lot of trying to do a lot of research on what science and research has been done with human remains detection dogs and scent-specific trailing dogs. And I'm at this point more involved in instructing both hands-on dog handlers, and then also I do some online instruction for the Center for Forensic Training and Education, where they have me teach handlers.
Are you also in this field? Are you also a certifier
Yes.
for newer canines?
Yes, so I became a national certifying official in the realm of human remains detection through an organization called NNDDA. It's National Narcotic Detector Dog Association. It is one of several national organizations that test working dogs at least once a year. It says narcotics because in the 1970s is when it was developed as a narcotics entity, and it has since grown to be patrol dog testing, explosive dogs, human remains detection dogs. So I became I test through there, but I'm also a certifying official in just human remains detection. So teams that can qualify to take that certification once a year, I evaluate them through a series of unknown blind testing, and then they either certify or they don't.
And in addition to being a member of the NNDDA, do you have any other memberships with associations as it relates to cadaver canines?
I mean, I'm on the board of a small search and rescue entity in Illinois, and I'm also a International Bloodhound Training Institute is an organization that's worldwide that trains dogs to be scent specific, looking for live missing people. And I instruct that, and I'm also a certifying official in that entity, separate from human remains detection.
In continuing through your CV, I'm looking at page 4 on Exhibit 75. Do you have any certifications as it relates to human remains detection?
Yes. So whatever cadaver or human remains detection dog I'm working, once they're grown and ready to be in the field, I participate also, and I am tested and certified once a year to demonstrate the dog's proficiency. And that test is single blind, which means the certifying official places the height of the remains, and I work it unknown and identify with my dog where it is at, and it's odor recognition.
So I'll come back in a little bit to proficiency testing. When you first obtain a new canine, what is the process on how you start training the dog?
Okay. So it's evolved over the years, just like anything else. So the dog that was utilized in this case, Canine Moxie, her mother was brought in to rescue a pure German Shepherd, and the Madison Police Department evaluated her to possibly take her on as a police dog. She didn't want to bite anyone, which is great. So one of my colleagues took her and started her training in scent-specific trailing and in human remains detection. When Talia was brought into rescue, who I volunteer and help to the best of my ability when potential working dogs come through Wisconsin, Shepherds, Malinois, that sort of thing, I try to help place them in a working placement. And Talia came into rescue pregnant, and she had a litter of 9 or 10 puppies. And so whenever one of my working cadaver dogs is getting older, I begin the process again. After this one, I'm done. And so I had a working human remains detection dog, Canine Molly, and she was about 7 or 8. So I went and looked at the puppies that Talia had produced, and I was given the impression by everybody involved that we thought they were going to be all black German Shepherds, which is my wheelhouse at the time. And I brought someone along, another trainer, and we selected Moxie at 8 weeks old. So I brought her home earmarked to start her training in human remains detection only. She turned out not to.
I appreciate that. Attorney Thompson, go ahead and ask another question.
Thank you. Ms. Gumman, do you see what's marked as State's Exhibit number 168 on your screen?
Yes.
And what does Exhibit 168 show?
It's a picture of Canine Moxie and I in Texas after our first certification.
I would move Exhibit 168 into evidence and ask to publish to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to Exhibit 168?
Your Honor, in the name of God, I just want to go lay down. I'm not well.
All right, Exhibit 168 will be received. Any objection to its publication, Mr. Lychwick? All right, Exhibit 168 will be able to be used with the jury.
Thank you, Judge. And just for the record as well, all of these exhibits have previously been turned over to Mr. Lychwick, but he doesn't have papers with him, so I'm providing him paper copies. The exhibits I'll be using with Ms. Gumman going forward are 75, 76, 77 through 87, 165 through 167, and now 168. And I would ask then, Madam Clerk, if you could please turn on the screen for the courtroom.
The record will reflect that those paper exhibits have been provided to Mr. Lychwick.
And there are no staples. I took those out.
Thank you.
Okay. Is this you and Moxie in Texas then, as you discussed?
Yes.
Okay. And is Moxie still working, or has she been retired?
She retired in December of 25 at 12.
Okay. Now, once you have Moxie, and we'll use Moxie as a specific example because she is the dog that you used in this case here. So once you have obtained Moxie, how do you start that process of being able to detect the odor of human remains?
First of all, you have to use human remains. So we obtain anatomically donated, legally, human remains in different stages of decomposition. When they're young, I like to let them grow up a little bit till they're about 9 to 12 months. And in the meantime, you're just establishing what their favorite toy is. And you're also imprinting where whenever they smell the odor, it's a positive experience. You feed them treats. I do 90 days to an indication once they hit about a year, depending upon the maturity of the dog. So the first 30 days would simply have the remains out in some high grass and the wind's blowing in her face. And I take her favorite toy, which is a ball, tennis ball, and lob it to the aide and give her the command to go find. She ranges out, gets to the toy, and is having a positive experience around the odor. And we do that for about 30 days. Usually it's 2 sessions, 15 days. When she's showing the ability to range out and that's starting, and you're moving different areas, different aids, you then move to the next 30 days, which is now the toy is being concealed with the aid, and you're giving her that same picture of holding her and giving her a command to go find. And the ball is not cueing her or being lobbed at the odor, but she runs out anyhow. She finds the toy again, and another good experience, making that the positive. On the final 30 days, you identify what you want your trained final response to be, which is, in her case, a sit. Some dogs down, some bark, some touch. I do a sit. I've taught that to her at a close distance and then worked a little range from it. Now I have the toy again. The aid is out there. I give her my same picture of go find. She gets to the source. The toy's not there, but she then looks and I tell her to sit and she gets her toy at source again. So when that becomes proficient, then you begin to teach mini problems and then it just progresses from there.
Now, once the proficiency of the dog is established, does that mean that at this point the dog is detecting the odor and not looking for that toy or that specific item that you were initially starting the proficiency training with?
The toy is now with me. And so while we're searching, she's out ranging and she knows this is of high value, this odor. And it's the odor of human remains that's the only thing she gets paid or rewarded for.
Are there, or is there a different reward toy if she works but does not give a trained final response?
Because of the nature of the work of cadaver work or human remains detection work, which is often a lot of elimination work, I work my dogs for a short period of time, and regardless of if they give an indication or they find anything, they get that toy and they get a break to play. Then we take the toy away and ask them to go to work again. And I find that supports the dog maintaining a full day of working. And also the dog has no reason to false indicate because she knows she gets paid for working, not finding and sitting.
Okay. Have there been times in Moxie's career where she has given you, during these searches, the trained final response?
Yes.
Are there times in Moxie's career where, as she's working during these searches, she does not give a trained final response?
Yes.
Okay. Now, once the proficiency training is completed, then do you then move to the stage of certification of the dog?
Yes.
And can you tell me, how does a canine become certified in human remains detection?
The certification entity that I participate in as a handler is National Narcotic Detector Dog. My first year I went to Texas where a master trainer is, and that person sets out human remains in different environments. There's different categories. There's hidden, buried, rubble, exposed, the list goes on. And to certify, you have to complete at least 3 fines and no false alerts. The dog cannot urinate or eat the remains. Usually my certifications, there's about 4 to 5 areas that I search and locate in. And I do that once a year for a certification.
When was Moxie first certified as a canine in human remains detection?
She first certified in, she was born in 2013, the fall of 2015.
Okay, and up until the time that she retired, had she been successfully recertified each year since?
Yes.
And on or about November 19th of 2024, did Moxie still have, or was she still certified?
Yes.
During these proficiency trainings that we talked about with the NNDDA, as part of those scenes, are there times where there are no human remains present?
During testing?
Yes, during testing.
During the certification, there's no blank area.
Okay.
You search nothing, 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 find something. Search nothing, 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 find something.
Okay, so the placebo that I'm talking about, is that maybe more for proficiency training?
Yeah, your regular monthly maintenance training you may have where you know you have an area and you don't know if there's anything in it or not.
When you were attending the certification trainings, specifically a handler, not an official, as a handler, are you given any information about the areas in which Moxie is expected to search as part of her training?
Yes, usually an area is marked off as this stretch of rubble or this 1 acre of woods.
Are you, as the handler, specifically told where in the woods or where in the rubble the human remains are?
No.
Why is that?
The testing needs to see what you as a team can proficiently locate and identify that the dog knows its odor and that you read your dog to say, yes, they're on it.
So during these certification trainings and searches then, not only is Moxie being evaluated, but also you as the handler, are you being graded as well?
You and that dog become a certified team. So Moxie and I were certified together each year. Someone couldn't slip in and they could probably work her, but they were not certified with her. So yes.
What is your role then as the handler when Moxie is searching an area? What are you just standing there, or are you making observations of your own or something else?
Depends on the area. I like to work them off lead as much as I can, but sometimes we have to have them on lead for safety purposes. And
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. What do you mean by on lead?
We usually have them off lead, but if they're on lead, they may be on a leash, a 6-foot or a 15-foot long line. And that's to keep them out of traffic or what other issues there are.
Okay. Now, when you are, as a handler, when you're observing Moxie, are you also responsible for interpreting any behaviors that you see her engaging in?
All dogs have what I call tells before the trained final response, and every dog has a different cadence. Some dogs may make an audible snort and then hesitate and then perform. Some may have a flag of their tail different. Their cadence can change from forward to a 90-degree, investigating, and then an indication. So you really learn that dog's body language that cannot be cued prior to the indication And that is something the dog naturally does.
And what is Moxie's tell, if you will, before her trained final response, if she gives one?
Some of Moxie's tells would have been, I could hear an audible snort. She may be going, moving forward and then turn hard left or hard right. Nose drops down to investigate. And then for her, she would, prior to an indication, almost always make eye contact with me, probably to see if I was watching her or if I had caught up to her, and it was just part of our dance.
What is Moxie's trained final response then?
Moxie's is a sit.
Hold on, because this is killing me. The lady, the blonde lady, is she from the Matthew Paul trial, or the one where the boyfriend hid the lady in the back of the therapy place? Matthew Paul, or is she from she's from another trial, the blonde, the stenographer? Okay, here we go.
Okay. And the eye contact happens first and then she sits?
Most often, yes.
Okay. Now, when you are acting as a handler with when Moxie is searching, are there times where a dog may show, or where you have seen Moxie show those tells in an area or over an item or object, but not alert to it?
Yes.
What would be some of the reasons why a dog might, come to an object or an area and show those tells, but not actually alert?
It could be that they're investigating something that is not human remains, so they have to check it and then move on. It could be it's not strong enough for that dog's threshold indication. It could be that the dog is checking the area to try to, in dog world, we say they drive to odor. They're trying to get to the closest, strongest odor they can get to. Those would be the most common.
Sorry, I'm just writing a note here. Thank you. What is the command that you give Moxie when you want her to start searching?
Go find.
Okay. And do you have a command for her to give a final trained response?
No. When she's young and learning.
Yeah, I've seen her before too. I don't know what trial she's from, but if Conrad doesn't have any questions for the canine lady, do you think they'll mind if I throw a few to her?
Program, we give them the sit or the down, and they get paid for it. But you work to a proficiency where you don't ask that of them anymore. Or if you're going to do that, it's what I call alert work, where I want to polish them. So once a month, we'll go out and it's all about, you smell this odor, I need you to sit, just to tighten it up. But I don't actually have a command for that, because either she's going to commit to it or not.
And that's not something that when you're out in the field doing an actual search with law enforcement, let's say, you are not the one telling her, or you don't have the ability to tell her, give a trained final response right here.
No, because she has the nose, not me.
We've talked about human remains detection, but as part of that proficiency training, are dogs trained to recognize or separate out the smells of animal remains versus human remains?
Yes.
Okay. And in all of your years with Moxie, has she ever given a trained final response on animal remains?
Not that I can recall.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier. You mentioned the phrase false alert. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the American Academy of Forensic Science?
Yes.
Are you a member? Are you certified through them? Or how are you familiar with that organization?
during my journey in this work, American Academy of Forensic Science is several categories of different uses in investigating. So there might be tire mark impression people and blood spatter people, and detection dogs is one of them. The people that advise on it are scientists and dog trainers. And so there is this entity that kind of like talks about best practices, industry standard, terminology.
Is there a definition of the term false alert that is provided by this American Academy of Forensic Science?
A false alert is identified as when you're absolutely certain the odor the dog is trained in is not present. The dog gives its trained final response, and the certified handler says, yep, this is a hit.
Okay, so it would be possible for a dog to hit on a object or a location where there are no human remains, or the odor would not be there, but it only gets counted as a false alert if the handler confirms and says, yes, that is a trained final response.
Yes.
Okay. Has Moxie ever had a false alert in your experience with her during trainings?
Oh, not that I can recall.
Okay. Is that more difficult to tell maybe when you're out in the field because you let Moxie go, and this is not like a training where you know exactly where the odor would be placed?
Correct. In the field, we're just there to collect information, so I can never say if she's right or wrong. I just have to articulate where she indicates if she does, and if she doesn't, that's okay too.
At that point, then, it would be up to the law enforcement agencies who are investigating whatever they're investigating to be able to either corroborate that, or they look at the evidence they have to see if there are any consistencies with the location where Moxie gave her trained final response and what they know about their investigation.
Yes.
Okay. I have one final kind of general question before moving on to a specific search with Moxie. Over the years, as a human remains detector handler, have you received training about how long the odor of human remains can remain in a space?
I have anecdotal experiences, and then some science in the back of my head, but it's not coming to me. In an indoor environment, the odor of human remains can last a very long time because there's no wind, no rain, no ventilation to get that odor out. In an outdoor environment, the odor of human remains will last, but probably not as long as indoors. And a lot would depend on how long it was there and in what condition.
Hypothetically, let's say you have a scene where there was either a gunshot wound or a stabbing. In that case, would you expect the odor to be stronger based on the amount of fluids in those particular kinds of traumatic injuries?
Comparing that to a strangulation, there would be a lot more biological that spills out and gets into the ground or into the air, into in an indoor environment, the floor, the carpet, that sort of thing.
Okay. I'd like to direct your attention then to November 19th of 2024. And Madam Clerk, if you could just turn on the screen in front of the witness, please. Were you contacted by a detective with the City of Waukesha Police Department to assist in a death investigation?
Yes.
And was that location 1512 East North Street in the City of Waukesha?
Yes.
Once you were contacted by this detective, were you or did you agree to assist by bringing Moxie to this scene?
Yes.
Okay. So now on November 19th of 2024, when you arrive at 1512 East North, what do you do once you arrive on scene?
Arrangements were made to meet at the address, and when I first got there, I didn't want to take her into the area until I gave her a break because we had driven quite a while. So I parked on the sidewalk in front of the facility, the building, and had her go potty just there on the terrace, and then relocated once I talked to the detectives to where to put my vehicle.
Okay. Where did you end up leaving your vehicle?
I pulled into the parking lot, and I would have been facing southwest.
Okay, and I have up on the screen in front of you State's Exhibit 1, which has previously been admitted. Is this an aerial view of 1512 East North where you went with Moxie on the 19th?
Yes.
Okay, so that screen in front of you is actually a touch screen. If you could circle where the general area is that you first parked,
Okay.
and then where you ended up moving your vehicle before Moxie got out.
And I use this?
Yes, please.
Approximate.
Okay. And then, I'm sorry, there's an arrow and there's a circle.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened.
Okay, let's try again. Madam Clerk, can you erase the screen? And actually for this one, since it's already been admitted, can you please turn the screens on for the jury again? I apologize.
All right, exhibit number 1 will be published again.
Okay, now in looking at Exhibit 1, can you please first circle where you first parked when you arrived on scene?
I believe it was like right in there on the sidewalk and terrace, not in the road.
Okay, then where did you move your car prior to Moxie getting out to perform a search?
I think I did it right in there.
Okay.
So the first green marking was along East North Street. The second green marking was in the small grouping of trees just to the northeast of the apartment building.
Thank you, Judge. I would ask that this be captured as 1C, I believe we are on for this exhibit.
We will use this as 1C, then wait for my clerk to verify the capture.
Now, when Moxie gets out of the car, does she immediately just start running around a property or field or wherever you guys end up?
No.
Okay, what is the process of how you get Moxie ready for a search or let her know it's time to go to work when she gets out of the car?
Try to have a routine, put a vest on her for visibility, and either hold on to her, get a reward toy, kind of point to the area. If we were in a field, I would just simply tuck the toy away and say, go find, and she would start ranging out. If there's a safety issue, then I have her usually on a long line, 15 feet the longest, or a leash.
Okay, and in this case, were there any safety concerns that made you decide to keep Moxie on a lead?
Oh, yes. The road, the East-North Street, is very busy. So I had to start the initial sniff effort with her on a leash.
Okay. Is there anything about having her on a leash that allows you to somehow send her a message that give a trained formal response in this location?
No.
Okay. Now, once Moxie gets out of the car and you put the vest on for visibility, did you do that in this case?
I don't recall. Most likely.
Okay. Then, once she is on the lead, do you tell her, go find?
I then say to her, go find, and she begins to move about and either begins to follow odor or just starts casting, like almost like a hunting dog.
What do you mean by casting?
Casting would be, you'll see a dog out in a field catching the smell of something. They may go far left, and then cut across far right, their heads up, and it's a natural cadence they use to scent.
Is it almost the way you were moving your hand in front of the jury, almost like a snake or a serpentine style?
Yeah, it's like a triangle that the dog is bouncing from one edge of across it to the other edge.
Okay. Now, when you arrived on scene in this particular case on North Street, how much information from the city of Waukesha detectives that were there did you know about the investigation?
The initial information I received was that body had been located on this property. They only believed that, they said they believed it had been there a while. How long, I don't know. And so I explained, if you want me to help with any information, you need to understand the dog is going to indicate where this body most likely was last at, because that odor is still going to be there, given how short a time frame between when it was located and when I was there.
Did law enforcement tell you where that body was specifically discovered?
I knew it was outside, up in the woods. I don't recall if I knew exactly where it was. I can't remember.
Okay. Is that generally something you may not want to know prior to starting the search?
I prefer to go into searches with enough information to know how to get the dog into an area. But I prefer not to know a lot. It just feels more authentic for me.
Okay. So now Moxie is out of the car. And before I do that, Madam Clerk, can you turn on the screen just for the witness, please? Okay, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 76. As I'm scrolling through it, it's a 3-page document. Do you recognize Exhibit 76?
Yes.
After a search in which you're assisting law enforcement, do you prepare a report of any findings or final responses that Moxie or any other dog you're handling made?
I record in a police-style report what I did. Whether the dog gives indications or not, I just document the areas that were the dog had its nose in and any information like that.
Do you also include times of any changes in or any of those tells or any trained final responses?
Always try to record the time starting, and then if there are any trained final responses, to try to capture as close to the time it occurs as possible.
Why is that necessary?
I find that through years of working the dogs, more specifically in an indoor environment, they're either going to get it right away or not. And I don't want to stay in a space too long for the dog to inadvertently think, oh, Mama wants me to do X, Y, or Z. So I have a routine, and if we don't get anything, we're done, and we move on to the next thing. And the articulation is the dog is not indicating that it's getting the odor of human remains. It's not eliminated. It's just the dog's not identifying anything.
Okay. Now, I'm showing you on your screen a 14-page packet of photographs marked Exhibits 77 through 87 and then 165 through 167. I'm going to scroll through these and then I'll have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Have you seen the location in these photos prior to today's date?
I've physically been there. I guess I don't understand the question.
I'm sorry. I'll reword it. Thank you for clarifying. The photos in Exhibits 77 through 87 and 165 through 167, are those various locations of the property of 1512 East North?
Based off of my recollection, they are, yes.
Okay. Now, do those photos then also document the areas of the property in which you observed Moxie give a trained final response during her search on the 19th of November?
Many of the photos do, yes.
Okay. Now, 167 through I'm sorry, 165 through 167, those were photos of the underground garage of 1512 East North. Is that correct?
Yes,
And these photos were taken not at the time of Moxie's search. Is that correct?
I don't recall pictures being taken while we were sniffing the area. I believe they called someone, and while I was still on scene, someone came and took some.
Is this, even though you weren't the one taking photos, do you recognize this garage as an area in which Moxie gave a trained final response?
Yes.
Okay. I would move exhibits 77 through 87 and 165 through 167 and 76 into evidence.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to 76 through 87 and 165 through 167? The defendant is not giving a response. Those exhibits will be admitted into evidence.
Okay. Now, once Moxie is out of the car and you get the go find command, where does she go first on the property?
From the parking lot, she moved across it to like a concrete steps that went up a hillside. And then she pulled to what I would describe as the east along the top of the landscape wall of the parking lot, got to an area along the wooded area, and dropped her nose down, sniffed, turned around, and gave me her trained final response that she detected the odor of human remains.
On the screen in front of you, and Madam Clerk, this can be turned on for everyone, please. I'm showing you what has previously been admitted as State's Exhibit number 7. Now, Ms. Gunman, when you were on scene on November 19th, is it fair to say that this pile of sticks smack in the middle of Exhibit 7 was not there?
I don't recall those sticks being there.
Okay, so if I were to tell you this was a photo taken from October 30th of 2024 that someone else has already testified to, that would not be the same date as your search, is that correct?
Correct.
But does Exhibit 7 show the correct area of the property in which Moxie gave her first trained final response?
Yes.
Okay, do you see in here that kind of retaining wall or the driveway area that you referenced?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at this point, you still have Moxie on a lead, is that right?
Yes.
Because of the road being so close to where she is?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you notice any of her tells before she gave a trained final response?
I'd have to review the report.
And that would be Exhibit 76 that you've testified to. So I'll direct your attention then to this middle paragraph here, starting with, I believe, the perimeter.
Should I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay. She was pulling me towards that wooded area, lowering her nose, and then she stopped very quickly, and I observed her put her nose to the soil, and then turn around, look directly at me, and conduct her trained final response.
Is her nose being down towards the soil of significance to you versus her nose in the air?
Yes.
Why?
If she is at a distance from a source of human remains odor and just by the wind currents, she will keep her head high, and she may give a trained final response, but I know she's not on it because she's facing somewhere, turns around, and indicates. Whereas if she's dropped her nose to a specific spot, then conducts her trained final, I have to assume there's either source there or the strongest amount of odor for her.
And that's what Moxie is always looking for, the closest, strongest odor of human remains?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what was the time that you gave the command to go find?
I started at 1:10 p.m. and she gave her trained final response approximately 1:11 p.m.
Is that, in your world, a very quick trained final response, or is there any significance to that approximate minute in which it took her to give a trained final response?
At that point in Moxie's career, that she really knows her orders and knows her job. So that was very quick for the average cadaver dog. And for her, it was normal.
Okay.
Attorney Thompson, would now be a good time to take a short break?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, we're going to take a short break here. The court has a hard stop at about 11:50 this morning, so you're going to get lunch around 11:50. So if you take a break now, we'll go for another 50 minutes or so this morning.
Okay.
So I will excuse the jury at this time.
All right, Gary.
So what are they going to do with dude? Is he just going to sit there and sleep? See, at this point, I just lay my head down and be like, I'm good, y'all. Just find me guilty. But I wouldn't commit no crimes. So, okay, here we go.
Thank you. You may be seated. And you can step down too. We are now outside the presence of the jury. I want to just make a record. We're breaking, as I said, about 10:52 this morning. The court will make a following record. Every other time that this court has had Mr. Lychwick in court, Mr. Lychwick has been attentive, alert. He's participated. He's interjected. He's raised objections. He's made motions to adjourn the trial. He's motioned for his attorneys to withdraw. He's protested the proceedings. He has always been alert. He has always complained about his medical situation. He's complained about his housing in the jail, but he's always participated in court. Yesterday, the defendant was alert. He was asking questions. He was writing notes. He was participating. He was dressed in civilian clothes. His hair was in a bun. He was looking appropriate. He was alert the entire day, which was a long day. We had jury selection. We had openings. He chose not to ask questions in voir dire. However, he did exercise his strikes and exercise them in an appropriate manner. He participated in his opening. He asked some questions of some witnesses, and he declined asking questions of witnesses that, frankly, the court found was appropriate because in the court's mind, from what I've seen so far, the defendant wouldn't have been challenging the testimony of those witnesses anyway. Today, the defendant looks more disheveled. He is refusing to get dressed. He has been sitting all morning with his eyes closed. He is perfectly still. Whoever has the electronic device that keeps going off needs to step out of the courtroom and turn that off, please.
I thought I could hear something.
I watched him for quite a bit of the testimony this morning. Despite sitting in his wheelchair for most of the morning with his head pitched slightly forward, I never observed the defendant's head nodding forward. I never heard it or observed his head falling backwards. His upper body remained perfectly still. There was no outward indication that the defendant was sleeping. At one point, the defendant crossed his arms in front of him. There were a few times when I spoke loudly enough and caught his attention, and that is how I would characterize it. The defendant popped his eyes open, seemingly surprised. The defendant did that a few times. Eventually, the defendant has decided to just not pop his eyes open, not respond to the court in any outward physical manner. And then eventually the defendant started responding to the court with his eyes completely closed. So he didn't go through the what I would characterize as a ruse of being startled awake and opening his eyes. He just kept his eyes closed and addressed the court. The defendant did not open his eyes at all to view any of the exhibits up on the screen. There is water on the counsel table available for him to drink to refresh himself. He has not taken a drink from that water. He has not moved in his chair. And the court has continued speaking loudly enough when addressing Mr. Lychwick that anybody who would legitimately be sleeping would be awakened by the court. So the court finds that Mr. Lychwick is continuing to intentionally not participate in his defense. The court does not believe that Mr. Lychwick is sleeping, even though he is sitting in his chair, not responding to the court, not making any movements, not opening his eyes. We will continue with Mr. Lychwick seated in his wheelchair because he is not disruptive to the court. He is not interrupting the ordinary proceedings of the court. So the court sees no reason to remove him at this time. We will continue with Mr. Lychwick seated in court. At this time, the court will be on a break until 11:05.
I think they're in the same county as the Paul trial and the Brooks. And I was reading, I think Sandy wrote yesterday that the detective that was on the stand in this trial, his son was hit by Brooks. Maybe we read it wrong. I don't know. I'm a little goofy sometimes, so. Yeah, he did address it. The judge gave him time to address his little issues and stuff. He said he has an open incision on his belly that's causing him complete pain, and then having to sleep on a concrete slab for the last 18 months. I don't mean to laugh, but oh man, you knew this day was coming. All right, here we go.
Not throwing up or having use of after this time.
Okay, so my deputy inquired if Mr. Lychwick wanted to use the facilities. He indicated he did not. He was happy where he was at and was just happy that he was not throwing up or otherwise sick. Mr. Lychwick is seated once again in his chair with his arms.
Wait, hold
Now,
on.
that he's comfortable where he's at, and he's just happy that he's not throwing up or having use of after this time.
Okay, so my deputy inquired if Mr. Lychwick wanted to use the facilities. He indicated he did not. He was happy where he was at and was just happy that he was not throwing up or otherwise sick. Mr. Lychwick is seated once again in his chair with his arms crossed, his head down, his eyes closed.
And Crazy Taylor Shabusiness is there too. I think he was the judge. That's where I've seen this judge. He was there the day that he had to hold, like they had to attack her and put a spit thing on her. Wasn't that the judge? Poor, I don't know what happened to the people in Wisconsin, but I bet my niece, she's in prison in Wisconsin. I bet she was no fun either. Oh yeah. Yeah. He can.
Like he was prior to the break. So we will continue. We'll bring the jury in. Okay.
All rise for the jury.
Thank you. You may be seated. Please
Ms. Governor, you remain under oath. Attorney Thompson, you may proceed.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you please turn on the screen in front of, or for everyone? And also, while we were on break, Ms. Gumman, I provided a paper copy of your report that's been admitted as Exhibit 76. That way you can refer to that if you need to as we go through the other final responses in this case while keeping the photographs up for the jury. Now, we were just finishing talking about the first trained final response on that footpath in that wooded area by the retaining wall across from the parking lot. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And in that search, or in that response, had Moxie had her nose to the ground?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this initial sniff, is that conducted to allow Moxie to find the area that had the strongest odor of human remains?
Yes.
Okay.
Attorney Thompson, just to interrupt, sorry, I don't believe the state moved for publication of the exhibits that were introduced through Ms. Gumman. Are you so moving for those?
I would ask to publish those previously received exhibits now that we are at that point.
So that would be the photographs 77 through 87 and 165 through 167?
That is correct.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have any objection to the publication of those exhibits that have already been marked as evidence?
As I told you, Your Honor, I'm not up to being here today. I protest.
That is noted. Those exhibits may be used with the jury.
Okay, thank you. Now moving to exhibit number 77, once that trained final response is observed on the foot trail, do you and Moxie then enter that ground level parking garage?
Yes.
Do you take her off the lead while she's in the garage?
Yes.
Okay. Now, exhibit 77, is this when you first walk into the garage and you're looking to your left?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 78, is that the same angle, just brighter, and now we're moving into that room that was first on the left?
Yes.
Is that, or was it described to you as like a boiler room or a maintenance room?
Yes.
When you walked inside, did that appear to be consistent with what you saw in that room?
Yes.
Okay. So now Moxie is off lead. Do you give her the go find command into this boiler room?
No.
What do you do?
We start at the entrance to the garage doors of this parking ramp or underground parking. And I gave her a command to go find. And she was off lead. She ranged out. She circled around in the garage one time. And I just always try to move along so I can observe her. And then she tucked in on her own into that room. And as I began to move in that direction to catch sight of her, she stepped out, made direct eye contact with me, and gave her trained final response, basically in the door frame.
Okay. Now, if we move to exhibit 79, is that a view of inside of the boiler room or the maintenance room?
From that doorway looking directly in, that's the picture of that.
Okay. And you said that Moxie gave her trained final response in the doorway of this room?
Yes.
Did she give any trained final responses inside of this room?
So based off of missing whatever it was in that room by her moving so quickly in there, I walked into the room and started moving around with her. I don't recall if I said go find again. By this point, we're kind of automatic. And she went and started sniffing and dropped her nose under that workbench and backed back out, made eye contact, and gave me her trained final response.
In going to exhibit 81, is this a brighter version of exhibit number 79 that we just looked at?
Yes.
Okay, and can you circle for me on the screen the area in which Moxie's trained final response was?
Yes.
It relates to the workbench.
I would say that's approximate.
Okay, can we please capture this and label it as 81A?
We will do that. We'll capture it with the green circle. It'll take a moment for my clerk to double check it.
Okay, thank you. Now, was there another location in this boiler room where you observed Moxie give a trained final response?
Yes, after that indication, I began to move through the space more methodically with her. She was self-sniffing, but moved past the workbench, and then in that far corner, there's remnants of carpet. She dropped her nose underneath. I don't recall if she snorted or not, but she backed right out, looked at me, and gave her trained final response.
Okay. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, thank you. Going back to Exhibit 80, is this now the corner of the boiler room in which you were just talking about with the carpet remnants?
Yes.
Okay. And, oops, I'm sorry, I don't have a brighter version of this one. But if I make the screen larger, in that back corner there, you see all those rolled up carpets?
Yes.
Can you circle on Exhibit 80 where you saw Moxie give her trained final response?
Approximately that green circle.
Okay. Can we please screen capture this and mark it as Exhibit 80A, please?
We will make this 80A.
Once Moxie gives this trained final response, does she end up leaving this boiler room?
We continued a methodical movement through that room. She did not indicate anywhere else in the room, and we exited out to move through the rest of the garage.
And is it fair to say that Moxie is guiding herself? You're not telling her where to go. Is that fair?
I prefer to always let them first commit to order by giving their trained final response. And if I think I can, I'll try to methodically move with her in a detailing format to see if we can get closer to whatever it is that's the human remains odor for her. So everything she does is independent. Unless she gives a trained final, then I do work a little harder with her on trying to get to where it might be coming from.
Okay. Now moving then to, does Moxie go through the garage at all?
Yes.
Okay. And if I move to exhibit number 167, we're kind of coming back to exhibit 77 where we're at the threshold of the underground garage door, and that door there is for the boiler room that we just saw photos of. Is that the correct orientation of this photo?
Yes.
Okay. So then as Moxie is independently coming out of that boiler room, do you observe her go through the garage?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in exhibit 167, we see the door of the boiler room, and then 166 is the okay. In exhibit 166, is this the part of the garage that's facing North Street, from what you can remember?
No, I think, I got disoriented, like where our cardinal directions are. I thought the back of the garage, as we're looking at it, was more parallel with, is it Westmoreland? Or
Moreland Boulevard.
Moreland Boulevard. That's where I thought it was.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
No, that's okay. But this is the underground garage. As it continues, it's on the same side of the boiler room. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Then, if we go to 165, is this, if you're standing in the threshold of the garage, you're looking to the right?
Correct.
Okay. Does Moxie walk throughout the entirety of this garage?
Yes.
Does she give any trained final responses in this garage?
She did.
Where?
In this picture, where would you like me to start?
I'll start here.
Okay.
Since she came out this doorway.
So she moved along, passing dumpsters that were there. I don't know if those were the exact dumpsters. I don't know what cars were there. And then she moved between the car, the gray car, and the wall. She moved along the wall. She ended up giving a train final response in that vacant portion in the back area of the parking stalls.
Can you circle for me?
To the best of my ability, it was not that car, and it was somewhere approximately around that pillar, but not that car.
Okay. Can we please screen capture 166 and mark it as that, as letter A?
That will be included into the record as Exhibit 166A.
Now, you indicated that to the best of your recollection, this area in 166A, that parking stall or that area was empty on that date of your search. Is that correct?
From what I recall, there wasn't a vehicle right there.
Okay. Now, does Moxie then continue along that wall and go to the opposite side of the garage?
I would have gotten her going again, knowing that we're just looking for information. And so we moved along that back far wall with no indication from Moxie that she detected the odor of human remains. And then we came along this wall and whatever was in the area, and she conducted another train final response in this area.
This is now Exhibit 165 that's on the screen.
Thank you. And can you, to the best of your recollection, can you circle, please, where Moxie gave a train final response in Exhibit 165?
I thought there was some stuff there, and it was in that area, is what I recollect.
Okay. Can we please screen capture 165 and mark it as letter A, please?
That will be part of the record as 165A.
From the garage, did you then go inside of the apartment building at 1512 East North?
Yes.
Did you specifically go to apartment number 13?
Yes.
How did you get from the garage threshold here to apartment 13?
We exited the garage door, and we again went along that side of the building, up a staircase, and made entry on what I would describe as the west side of the building.
Okay, so if we're looking at Exhibit 1, which I have in front of you, if I'm following my cursor, are you walking around North Street here, up the side then of Moreland?
No.
Okay, can you draw for me your path once you left the garage?
We would have gone in right about there.
Okay, so the door right up at the top of those concrete steps?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you are walking up those steps, once you're in the building, is there a long hallway?
From what I recollect, yes.
Okay. And so, do you give Moxie the go find command prior to going into apartment 13?
I did not.
Okay. Now, once you're inside apartment 13,
Clear the screen.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm going back to Exhibit. We'll start with Exhibit 83. Now, when you open the door to apartment 13, is this the view that you have when you're still in the threshold of the doorway?
Yes.
Okay, and it appears that if you go down the hallway, it leads to a bedroom. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you go straight to the left, where we see that orange iron on the counter, would that be the kitchen of this apartment?
Yes.
Did Moxie give a trained final response in the kitchen of apartment 13?
Yes.
Okay. How did you observe that happen?
Entered the apartment, would have had the door closed behind me, released her from leash, gave her a command to go find, and she is allowed to move about freely. And she ended up moving through the apartment and stopping near the kitchen sink. And then with her head more up, she gave a trained final response that she detected the odor of human remains.
We've been talking about her trained final responses with her nose to the ground. So did it make any difference to you that her head was slightly upwards in this trained final response?
To me, it's, she's doing the best she can. This is what she can give me, but she's not specific to anything around that area. So it lends itself, it's either fainter, older, or there's nothing she can put her nose on.
If we go to, going backwards a little bit, but Exhibit 82, do you recognize this area of the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, and was her trained final alert underneath, inside this cabinet, or because her nose was in the air, was it more of the area?
It initially was the area.
Okay.
Yes.
Did she give a trained final response then in a more specific area of the kitchen?
I don't recall how we got those cupboard doors open. I most likely would have asked somebody if we can open them. And once the doors were open, she did again indicate, but nothing very pronounced, giving her trained final response to the odor of human remains.
Okay. Then as we go back to that front hallway at the threshold of the door, and we continue down the hallway, Exhibit 84 is a closer up version of exhibit of the one we just saw going towards the bedroom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And once Moxie is inside that bedroom, does she give any trained final responses?
She self-initiated going in there. She did extend her nose up to an empty dresser area up higher and conducted her trained final response that she detected the odor of human remains.
Okay. Once you are finished in apartment 13, is there any other location on the property where Moxie is taken?
We did an exterior around the actual building, and she did not indicate around the building to the fact that she detected the odor of human remains. And then we went up the concrete stairs to the northwest, and I took her off traffic lead, and she pushed forward again, and then she cut more into the woods. And as I was following her, she dropped her nose down along a log, nose straight down, and then turned around and gave me direct eye contact and conducted a trained final response that she detected the odor of human remains.
Okay. If I'm showing you on the screen now what has previously been admitted as State's Exhibit number 19. And do you recall seeing, strike that. We see concrete stairs more towards the left of Exhibit 19. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are these the stairs that you came out of the building on?
We used those stairs to go in the building, came back out, and then used one more time to get up the hill.
Okay. And then this is the hill that you're referencing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we look further to the right of Exhibit 19, that's the direction where we're going higher up this hill. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And then at the top of that hill, is there a clearing area?
There was some area that had been maybe cleaned up from brush.
Okay. Now, in going then to Exhibit 85, are we now looking up the hill that we just looked at in State's Exhibit 19?
We are looking to the almost north.
Okay. And if you can see my cursor here, circling the top left corner, is that the top of the hill that we are going to be talking about with Moxie's last trained final response?
Yes.
Okay. Now, moving on to Exhibit 86, now we're more centered and we will go up this hill. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. 87, is this now the top of the hill?
Yes.
Is Moxie off lead at this point?
Yes.
At what point was she given the go find command? Was it at the bottom of the hill, or when she got to the top, or something else?
We got to the top of the stairs, got her a little bit away from traffic, released her and said, go find.
And so she went up this hill herself?
Yes.
and she's detecting or trying to detect the strongest odor of human remains?
In that area, yes.
Okay. Now, once Moxie is in this area that we see in Exhibit 87, do you see her nose towards the ground or up in the air?
She was moving forward. As I caught up, I observed that she had stopped her forward motion, dropped her nose down, and was sniffing along a log. She then looked at me and conducted a trained final response that she detected the odor of human remains.
Can you circle for me on Exhibit 87 where Moxie gave her trained final response in this area?
To the best of my ability, it's that green circle against that wooded area.
Can we please screen capture this and mark it as Exhibit 87A?
It will be captured. Please wait just a minute to confirm the capture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Gumman, we've talked about a lot of different areas of the 1512 East North property where you observed Moxie give a trained final response. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Did you find, and let me make sure I'm very specific with this question, after Moxie gives a trained final response, do you go to the area of that response to see if there are in fact any human remains?
Whenever she gives a trained final response, I'm up by her to look around and observe if I see anything. That is correct.
In any of these responses, when you were by Moxie, did you see any human remains in any of these areas?
I saw no human remains.
Now, if I were to tell you that that first photograph that we observed, or that photograph of the footpath area where Moxie gave her first trained final response, if I were to tell you that there had been human remains located in that location that had been there for approximately 6 to 7 months, what, based on your training and experience, would that tell you about the intensity or quickness of Moxie hitting in that particular area?
Based off of my life experience, I would guess that there was still bits of odor from the body decomposing into the soil, and for Moxie's nose, she could detect the odor of human remains, and maybe at a much finer tune level than anything laboratories can use to prove it.
So if human remains were found, let's say October 30th of 2024, and now Moxie is hitting in that area on November 19th of 2024, that odor could still be in the soil? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
What if somebody were to, after the remains were removed, walk through that area? Would the odor attach to something maybe that person is wearing?
Yes.
If someone were potentially gardening in that area, and let's say they take those gardening tools and put them back in the boiler room where you saw gardening tools, could the odor of those human remains follow that gardening item into that boiler room?
Yes.
And would it be fair to say that Moxie is not detecting the odor of human remains of a specific person? Is that fair?
That is correct. They're trained to detect the odor of human remains. Upon death, we become generic human cadaver odor.
Okay. So, without finding any human remains as you were next to Moxie during her responses, and if I were to tell you that a body was not recovered in apartment 13, based on your training experience, how could you account for the fact that Moxie gives a trained final response in apartment 13 knowing there's no body there?
Based off the information that a body was decomposing for 6 to 7 months, for a human remains detection dog, everything is probably contaminated within that driveway, anybody that's been walking around in that area. And that was the only apartment we sniffed. So I couldn't say if everybody was contaminated by it, but it gets into everything.
Would the analogy of the smell of a skunk help explain this concept of the odor transferring between objects and being in the location where there were no human remains in the investigation?
The odor of human remains could be described for us humans, because our noses aren't like it, like a skunk. When you're driving along, you smell it. As you get closer, you probably go past its carcass. You keep on going, and it takes a while to miss it. If you were to drive over a skunk or where it's just been killed, chances are your car's going to smell like it. So I think it is very safe to say that due to the time of that body staying outside near the driveway and all of the gardening and yard work that's being done, couldn't help but be carried into the building by whomever was around it.
So the fact that Moxie's responses in the garage, the boiler room, apartment 13, the fact that there were no human remains there, but in taking into account this concept that the odors can move with the objects, that doesn't mean her alerts were inaccurate in these locations where we know there were no human remains. Is that correct?
Detection dogs are trained to detect the odor of something. We would love for it to be source, but often it's just odor. So where that dog's threshold begins and ends, more mature, seasoned dog is going to be catching odor, finer tuned, faster, more specific than maybe a brand new dog whose database hasn't grown as much. So she is trained to detect the odor of human remains. Would love to have source, but I can't control that part of it.
I do not have any other questions for this witness. Thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, this is your opportunity to ask cross-examination questions. Do you have any questions for this witness? All right, Mr. Lychwick is not acknowledging the court. Therefore, Ms. Gilman, you can sit down. Thank you. Yes, I'll take that. Attorney Thompson, do you have another witness ready?
Yes,
We do, Your Honor. Attorney Tom Bosco, you can call your next witness.
We call Detective Tyler Bauer.
Detective, you can come up to the witness stand. When you get up here, please remain standing and raise your right hand to be sworn in by my clerk.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am. Have a seat. When you situate yourself nice and close to the microphone and are ready, please start by stating your name, spelling your first and last for the record.
It's Detective Tyler Bauer, Tyler Tyler, Bauer Bauer.
Attorney Tom Bosco.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good morning, Detective. Are you a specialist at the Waukesha Police Department, sir?
I'm a detective.
Okay, so your rank is detective. So how long have you been in law enforcement, sir?
A little over 11 years.
And as it relates to your role in this case, were you assigned to help investigate the death of an individual in this case?
Yes, I was.
And that individual was Carlos Maldonado, is that right?
Correct.
And in the course of your work in this particular case, did you ever have any contact with Kevin Lychwick in this case?
I did.
And directing your attention to November 26th of 2024, did you assist with the execution of a search warrant at Mr. Lychwick's residence?
I did.
And for the record, Mr. Lychwick's residence is at 1512 East North Street, apartment number 11?
Correct.
And this was a unit that was rented by Mr. Lychwick, correct?
That's my understanding, correct.
And when you assisted with the execution of the search warrant for Mr. Lychwick's apartment, were you assigned to search a specific area?
I was.
Which area of his residence were you assigned to search specifically?
Specifically, I was tasked with his bedroom and then the living room area.
Turning your attention to the defendant's bedroom, was there a particular item on a chair next to the defendant's bed that stood out to you during your search?
Correct. There was a rope.
I'm sorry?
There was a rope.
Okay. And to your knowledge, was that rope ever photographed?
It was.
And if I showed you copies of several photographs of that rope, do you think you would recognize them here today in court?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk, at this point, can you please just project this for the witness? Okay. Detective, are you able to see what's on the screen at this point?
I am.
Okay, and this has been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 88, is that right, sir?
Correct.
Do you recognize what is depicted in this photograph, sir?
Yes, I do.
Can you please describe it?
It appears to be a knotted up or tied white piece of rope around what appears to be a folding chair.
And this is the rope that you located in Mr. Lychwick's bedroom?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I now move the exhibit of evidence and ask that it be received.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have any objection to the receipt of exhibit number 88? The defendant is refusing to acknowledge the court. Exhibit 88 is admitted.
Thank you. Now, Detective, turning your attention to what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 89, do you see that on your screen as well?
I do.
And can you please identify what is depicted on this photograph, sir?
Again, it appears to be a white rope knotted or tied on what appears to be the leg of a folding chair.
And this is the same rope that was recovered in Mr. Lychwick's bedroom, sir?
Correct.
Yeah, I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have any objection to the admission of exhibit 89? Mr. Lychwick is not acknowledging the court. Exhibit 89 will be admitted.
And Detective, I have one additional photo for you at this point. This has been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 90. Do you see that on your screen as well, sir?
I do.
Okay, can you please tell us what is depicted in this photograph as well?
It appears to be a white rope, either knotted or tied. This looks like the back of the folding chair.
And I ask that this exhibit be received into evidence as well.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have an objection to exhibit 90 being received? The defendant is not acknowledging the court. Exhibit 90 is admitted.
Thank you. At this point, I would ask permission to publish all three exhibits to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have an objection to publication of the exhibits? The defendant is not acknowledging the court. Those exhibits may be used with the jury.
Detective, this is exhibit number 88?
Correct.
Okay. And this is exhibit number 89?
Correct.
And finally, this is exhibit that you justified to number 90. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
Thank you. Detective, do you know whether this actual white rope was collected specifically from the residence?
It's my understanding that it was collected.
And when a piece of evidence is collected pursuant to a search, what typically happens to that piece of evidence?
It would be brought back to the police department typically and property inventoried.
And is it sealed or in some way made sure that it is not contaminated in any manner?
Depending on the item, it would determine how it was sealed. Most likely with this, it would have been in a plastic sealed bag. However, it also could have been in paper as well.
And if I showed you that particular item, would you be able to recognize it, sir?
Yes.
Then at this point, I do have two physical exhibits. I would ask permission to approach the witness to show the witness the exhibits.
You may approach. Make sure that Mr. Lychwick has an opportunity to view those first. Mr. Lychwick, would you like to see exhibits? Are they 91 and 92?
They are actually 145 and 145A. They're a little bit out of order.
Mr. Lychwick, would you like to view exhibits 145 and 145A? All right, Attorney Tombasco, you may approach the witness.
Thank you very much. you.
For the record, the witness has been given black latex gloves and a scissors as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, can you just look at exhibit number 145 and the state's exhibit number 145A and just let me know if you recognize those two exhibits, sir?
Based on the description, appears to be what we just talked about. However, I don't believe I was the one to package them.
I see. If and those exhibits are sealed, is that correct, sir?
Correct.
And you have been provided with a copy of latex, or with a pair of latex gloves and a pair of scissors. Is that right, sir?
Correct.
And if you were to break the seal on those two particular pieces of evidence, do you think that would assist you in recognizing them, sir?
Yes, it could.
Yeah, I would ask at this point that the witness be allowed to cut open the exhibit and review it.
All right, the witness may proceed.
Okay. So have you been able to break the seal in one or both of the exhibits, sir?
Exhibit 145.
Okay. Do you recognize that exhibit, sir?
Yes, it appears to be the white rope from the chair.
And that's the same rope that you observed in Mr. Lychwick's apartment?
Yes, it appears to be consistent, yes.
Now I would move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the receipt of exhibit 145? Hearing none, that will be received.
And Detective, I'd ask that you do the same thing with exhibit number 145A. That has been done, sir?
Correct.
Do you recognize the what is depicted in exhibit 145A?
Yes, it appears again to be the white rope from the chair.
And this is from Mr. Lychwick's apartment as well, sir?
It appears to be consistent, yes.
Yeah, I ask that this exhibit be received into evidence as well.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the receipt of exhibit 145A? Hearing none, it will be received.
Thank you. Judge, at this point, I would ask that the witness be allowed to show both exhibits directly in front of the jury. If they could just do a walk, two passes back and forth so the jury can see it.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the use of the exhibits with the jury? All right, the detective will be permitted to use the exhibits both together with the jury.
And for clarity of the record, is that 145 that you have in your hand right now, sir?
Correct, this is 145.
Okay, thank you.
The record will reflect the witnesses walk back and forth in front of the jury with 145. And he has now done the same with 145A.
Thank you very much. Detective, based on your role in this particular investigation, what, if anything, is the significance of those two pieces of rope that you just displayed for the jury?
It's my understanding that the rope on the chair was consistent with the rope located on the decedent.
Detective, you just testified regarding your role in the search of the defendant's bedroom. Did you also participate in the search of the defendant's living room?
Yes, I did.
And did you locate any items of significance to you during your search of the defendant's living room?
Yes, I did.
And can you please tell the jury what were those items that you located?
There were numerous files, photographs, articles in the living room area, either outside or inside file cabinets, or something of that similar nature. Some of it including case reviews on prior criminals and notes on them or operations.
Was there one particular operation that caught your attention, sir?
Yes.
And was that an operation that was detailed as, quote, Operation Slop Shop?
That's correct.
And did you locate any notes that contained the phrase Operation Slop Shop?
Yes, I did.
And if I showed you that here today in court, do you believe that you would recognize it, sir?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask again the court's permission to approach the witness to show a physical exhibit.
Which exhibit is this?
This is exhibit number 146.
Mr. Lychwick, would you like an opportunity to review 146 before it is used with the witness? Mr. Lychwick remains unresponsive, therefore, Attorney Tambasco, you may approach.
Thank you very much. And the detective, can you please describe what you are looking at for the jury?
Yes, it appears to be approximately a half sheet of a computer paper with handwriting on it.
Is the deceased's name, Carlos Maldonado, indicated in any way on that exhibit, sir?
Carlos Maldonado's name is on here, correct?
And is that the exhibit that you located in the defendant's living room?
Correct.
And does that fairly and accurately depict the note as you found it when you participated in the search of the defendant's residence?
Yes.
The Honor would now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to exhibit 146? Hearing none, it is received.
And Your Honor, I have a digital copy of that exhibit. It's been referenced as exhibit number 146A. I would just ask permission to publish that to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to exhibit 146A being used for publication purposes with the jury? There is no objection, therefore it may be used.
Good to go.
Detective, is there any point on this exhibit where Mr. Maldonado is indicated as a threat?
There's a Operation Slop Shop where it references him connected to subjects and threats. I believe it says something along the lines of operation. It's hard to read the last word.
I see. And did you locate any other operation folders when you participated in the search of the defendant's living room?
I did.
And to your knowledge, did any of those operation photos, or excuse me, those operation folders contain any information about any additional operations in reference to Operation Slop Shop?
I believe they did, yes.
Did one of the folders have an indication regarding whether the threats from Operation Slop Shop had been neutralized?
I was made aware that there was reference to that, yes.
That's all the questions I have, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Lychwick, do you have any cross-examination questions? All right, Mr. Lychwick is not acknowledging the court, therefore, Detective, you may step down. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take our lunch break now at this time. I will have you report back to begin again at, let's say, 1:10. That gives you some time to go find lunch and have a break. We will see you then.
110, it's only 12 away. What? They haven't been in court but 10 minutes.
You may be seated.
Is he just gonna hang out there?
We are outside the presence of the jury. The court will make a further note that Mr. Lychwick continues to not participate in his defense. He is still in his wheelchair. For the last portion of the trial, he's been a little more slumped over, a little more slumped to the side. His head remains slightly forward. He is not nodding or outwardly appearing to fall asleep. The court noted several times during the testimony that he changed positions, that he's wiping his brow, that he's moving his arms, and including one of the times when the court asked if he had any objection to the introduction of some of the exhibits. The court was met with no response just moments after seeing the defendant moving. So it's clear the defendant is not sleeping. He is simply not participating in his defense. Any further record from the state before we break for lunch?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, anything else from you, sir? All right, we will break for lunch, 1:10.
Would the court like me to bring the exhibits to the clerk as well then?
Please.
Well, I was gonna go over and see what the Florida guy's up to, but you gotta shut the comments off, and I don't know how to do that. So, I guess no commenting on that trial. So I guess I just come back in an hour. We'll just have part 1, day 2, part 2. I don't know what else to do. If I knew how to shut the comments off, I'd go over and see what the guy in Florida is doing, but I was told you can't have your comments on. No, I don't know. My blood sugar was getting low. I had to eat something. All right. Well, I'll just be back at one time. By the time I get the live set up for the next one, it'll be about that time. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I mean, I can talk about the case. I think the guy has lost his mind. I think he should have just let the lawyers handle it. They don't have. Well, I can't have my comments on. Okay. All right. Have a good break. Well, let's see. Let's stop sharing this. Let's go to. They're on break too. Wow. I want to watch the one from yesterday where he had the outburst. I watched the trial or the thing from that sheriff this morning. They want him out of jail. I don't know if that judge is going to let him or not. But they had his aunt. I'm waiting for some company. It would have been nice if they could have showed up now. I'm here. I'm just trying to find unless they took it off. Here we go. Oh, wait. I'm not sharing it. Oh, no, hold on.
The defense has no burden whatsoever to prove or disprove anything or present any evidence whatsoever.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Can everybody hear me okay? Is the microphone working, Your Honor?
I think it is.
The state admits this was not George's intention for this to happen. He did not intend to crash into a marker. He did not intend for anybody to be hurt. His own daughter, his own wife, his own body was on that boat. He had traveled on that boat safely through that channel many, many times. Many times. And he was celebrating his daughter's 18th birthday with some of the best friends his daughter had since childhood. These were generational friendships. George's parents' generation, George's generation, and then the next generation. George would never think to put any of these girls' lives in jeopardy. And when he was traveling at 47 miles per hour with everybody seated on that boat, with George at the helm, a perfectly clear day. The seas were calm. A boat like that could have been powered not with just 600 horsepower engines, but 700 horsepower engines, although George didn't put the maximum horsepower engines on that boat. That boat can travel at upwards of 50 plus miles an hour, fully loaded. There was no weight restriction or personal restriction that George was violating when he had all of his passengers on the boat. There was a life preserver for each and every one of them on board, although the law doesn't require that passengers on a boat wear the life preserver. There was no speed limit in the channel. And there are channels with speed limits. When you come back to port, you might see a sign that says, no wake. Wake, W-A-K-E. Boats have to travel slowly when coming back into port sometimes. There might be a marker that says minimum wake. And there are markers that have speed limits throughout the intracoastal waterway. But Cutter Bank Channel in 2022 had no posted speed limits. We are now in 2026. There are still no posted speed limits at Cutter Bank Channel. Even after this tragedy happened, our legislature has not imposed.
Arguments
There was none then. There is none now, because under ordinary circumstances, traveling at 47 miles per hour, which George Pino had done many times, is not a violation of the law. It is not unsafe seamanship. Still, George crashed. The state's theory, as you've heard it today, is a bit of a mishmash. On the one hand, they say to you 2 beers, trying to suggest to you this is about alcohol impairment. The state knows better than that.
Objection, arguments.
The evidence will show.
What the evidence will show. Thank you.
I apologize. Multiple eyewitnesses, at least 8, I expect, will testify at this trial, 8, who observed George Pino at the sandbar just after the collision, the crash, and law enforcement officers themselves who observed George Pino eye to eye, examining him purposely to determine, was George Pino impaired? Each of those witnesses who examined and observed George Pino were satisfied that George Pino was not impaired. That included the adults that were at the sandbar. It included Lucy's dad, who was at the sandbar, himself enjoying the festivities with his daughter, with the Pinos, and with the other families that were there. And the adults that were at the sandbar were also consuming some alcohol. They too operated their motor vessels. After consuming some alcohol, including Lucy's dad, Lucy's dad would never have allowed his daughter to ride back with George Pino if Lucy's dad thought that George Pino was impaired. And Lucy's dad saw that George Pino had a beard and was satisfied that George Pino was not impaired. This was not the first time George Pino had a beer in his life. So you'll hear testimony from the adults at the sandbar, including George Pino's wife. George Pino's wife was on that boat. She would not have allowed her husband to operate a boat with her own life, her daughter's life, and the lives of the girls that Mrs. Pino had helped raise. Some of these girls grew up in the Pino home all the time, spending time together. Mrs. Pino will testify. George, her husband, was not impaired. She wouldn't have risked her own life.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
I didn't mute it, by the way. But I think they even had to call the ambulance and everything. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stop this and come back at 1 o'clock. So in the meantime, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.